Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm just getting some stuff set up real quick and then we will begin the stream shortly. I'm just going to make sure that I have both of the stream chats up and then we'll be good to go. In terms of what's been going on recently, we actually have had some more notable runners, but like for example, people banked a lot on Percolator, but this chart ended up just getting absolutely cooked, and unless for some reason you're doing a massive range, it's still not super ideal to be in this, just because it looks like pretty deathly, and I mean, this is not something that I am going to bid at the current moment. Gold coin, I saw other people print on this. The only thing I didn't like about it was just the volume looked pretty manufactured to me, and we'll see if it keeps going after this recent spike in volume. And I could be wrong, this could be organic and real, but just from my point of view, it was not something that was super A+ worthy. I think Up Only was up on the news that the Coinbase account had bought them. Probably not something I'm going to be a part of. It did have a massive run back in November of last year. So it's probably worth keeping an eye on. BYND, this is kind of a derivative of a stock ticker. I'm wondering if the stock ticker got any motion. I had someone in my chat asking about that recently. Send it. What's up, guys? Sorry, I'm trying to get everything set up. If you guys are tuned in on the YouTube, just keep in mind that if you are Portuguese, you can just wait an hour until the stream is done, and then you can watch it back for better closed captions. TikTok chat, I'm not going to be as active because I'm going to try to pay more attention on the YouTube side. We are streaming on the LP Army YouTube channel. They are hosting me every... Oh, he updated it for the 3rd episode. That's nice. We're going live every Monday on here, so this is the chat I'm going to be paying more attention to. We are going to be not answering as many basic questions on this stream. We are going to do a market making clinic just to go over how liquidity works if you are new to this. But for the most part, in terms of what Meteor is, etc., I will answer a few basic questions. But like I said, this stream is more for those that already kind of know what's going on. What's up, Strikeo? BYND. Anyways. I'm also going to send out a quick tweet that we are live before we get into too much stuff. What do you stream on first? So usually I am live on my YouTube account, but for example, on every Monday at 11 p.m. I'm going live on the LP Army YouTube channel. You can find them at LP Army TV. Feel free to go over there, drop a subscription, drop a like. That would be very awesome. But yes, sir, that is what we're streaming on. BYND didn't really get that much of a move. I guess 100% is a lot in the stock world. These are the kind of stocks I actually used to trade, believe it or not. I don't know what the news is on it. I'm just looking at the news because I am curious to see what kind of relevance it has for the meme ticker. News release. My Wi-Fi has been extremely. What prop firm are you using? How do you type at that angle? I have it like that for gaming. It's probably not ideal. I need to just have it normally. That's a good question. Anyways, I just want to see what the news is, just so we see if it has relevance to the actual meme ticker. I guess we should have checked the Twitter first. Oh, it's just heavily shorted. Another GME story. I've heard the same oldest song and dance on BYND forever and ever, that it's heavily shorted. And it has had some crazy pumps, but like It's gotten slammed so hard each time. But we'll see if this is the final ignition. That is a crazy, crazy volume candle. How many shares were traded today? 1.2 bill. And the float is... The float is 62 mil. So this is something for you stock guys. I know this is a Meteor stream. I don't want to deviate too much. But it is very interesting because a stock's float, this is the total amount of shares circulating, right? There was 1.2 billion shares traded today. That means the float was flipped like almost 20 times, which is pretty crazy. About 20 times, right? So that kind of volume churning is going to squeeze people out. So honestly, interesting ticker to pay attention on, and we're just going to kind of judge it with what happens with the stock. But this is actually a stock I'm going to be watching tomorrow. I don't trade stocks, but the fact that the float was rotated 20 times in one day is a very big flag that tells me to pay attention to it. Anyways, we're gonna get into the main topic of today's stream. We can go over some of the plays I'm still in. Fa is getting a little bit hairy. I just bid this really hard because it's one of the memes that I kind of thought fall into the line of like line 6-7 sort of deal. Even though line has been getting crushed. I haven't touched this again since I sold most of my fees back at 4.6 mil. I think we went over that play last stream, and it really hasn't done too well. I guess this little dip and bounce would have been good, but after this, you really don't want to stay into it. As you can see, it doesn't really look like it's... it doesn't really look good. This thing probably will bottom and get another push eventually. But who really knows how low it's going to go. But like I said, Fa, which I started bidding, like the edits, you know, the Instagram edits, like Fa. Oh, it's actually getting crushed kind of hard. That's okay though. We still have a large amount of range left. So the fees aren't great. Actually, they are pretty good. $18, so $1 for every $10 you get in range means it's a pretty decent printer. The only issue with this one is it hasn't gotten any buy pressure to give me any fees in Solana. And that's just how it works with these lower cap tokens, and especially since it's a 10% pool, 125 bin step. I was actually in a different pool. I was in a for some reason someone had made like a 100 bin step 0.2% pool, which was very odd. And then my friend Will hit me up as like, are you in a 0.2% pool? I was like, what am I? And yeah, so he ended up making this pool and paying for the bin, so I appreciate it. I'm now bidding this along with him. So let's see else if there's anything else. Cap is something I'm still in. I probably should just get out of this at this point. Yeah, I mean, Arena is actually getting cooked. I made a decent bid on this earlier. I think I claimed like 90. Yeah, I made 90 bucks on this. Now $44 in range. It's looking like it might actually fall off a cliff here, but it could have already fallen off the cliff. Let's see what the update on the website is. What's up, Jenny? Sorry, guys. I will be more attentive towards the end of the stream, but I'm trying to focus just on the YouTube comment section for now, even though there hasn't been any comments. We'll see. The issue with this coin is because very, very cool idea, but like I say all the time, like I've said on previous streams, you don't know if a specific ticker or meme is going to lose its novelty. Novelty in, oh, it's shiny, but it really matters if people keep coming back to the idea and still like it. So, I am bidding this. I still am in a pool on, what is it, Arena, my bad. I still am in a pool on Arena. But if this thing gets too deep, I might just cut it, because we'll see, we'll see. A lot of the memes have kind of pulled back the past few days. Let's see, is there anything else we have missed? We went over Faw. Wojak is still a long-term pool. I plan on going and cleaning some of these up. I should probably get out of Virus. Lab, I'm still in. Clanker. Hutch, I'm out of range on. And then I have literally 4 tickers that I'm just bag holding, unfortunately. My main claim to fame is that my risk management is very good, but for some reason the past 2 months I have been letting myself go on not cutting losses, and for some reason I've just been too confident and just have too much confidence that these coins are going to bounce when they really just go out of range, and I could have been up way, way, way more money at certain points in these pools, but that's just the way it goes. I've learned my lesson. I'm not going to make the same mistake, but I am still hoping these bounce. So that's unfortunate on those tickers, but like I thought Streamer Coin would bottom 6-7. It just made my range a little bit too tight. So even though I do preach risk management, I do falter sometimes and I come up short. So that's the way it goes. Thankfully, the portfolio is still doing fine. Anyways, I did want to look at cap real quick. Yonk, any 20+ mil runners in the trenches lately? Not really. This thing is actually getting some decent movement still. I think I'm actually going to end up staying in this just for a little bit longer. My range, I don't think, is this short. I think my range is a little bit better. I don't know. I like the movement on this pool, and the idea isn't terrible. Like I said, we'll see if it keeps its novelty, but this is something that I do actually like. Okay, so I am going to wait until we... What's up, Abstract? Have you bought into Avicii yet? No, I did not. I did not play Avicii. Everything is shabby, it's volatile, and that's fun. You only liquidity, and when it says it pay 90%, can you explain what it's doing? What do you mean 90%? But where do you see 90% at? So if we get a few more people in the chat, we are going to do a quick market making clinic, just so you guys kind of understand how liquidity provision works and the implications of it, how they can affect a chart, how you can actually market make by using Meteor's pools. Usually that's not going to be the intention of me or other farmers, but if you have enough money, you can do it, and it's just important to understand the concept. So give me like 10 more minutes and we'll get some more people in here, and then we can start going over that. Okay. That's enough of that one. I have to play these no copyright songs so that I don't get the Meteor YouTube ban, because that would not look good on the resume. So we're doing like some techno DNB. Like I said, guys, in the TikTok chat, we are live on LP Army TV. This is the official Meteor community. They are hosting me every Monday for crime season, where we just go over DLMM plays, and other information that might have popped up in the previous week. But there used to be daily multi-million runners in the trenches. Yes, there definitely were. But that's just where we are right now. We can't complain too much. I believe one day we'll get back there. Plus, we're all excited if you've been using for the TGE coming this week. I haven't talked that much about it, and that's just because I've already kind of stated what my decision was. I went with the token DLMM. So if you are receiving an airdrop, the registration is now closed, but the options were to either just claim the token or you can opt in to register it as instant liquidity. Wow, they raised 93. They almost got 100%. But anyways, basically what this is the entire airdrop that I received is going to go straight into a DAMM. I believe it stands for Dynamic Automated Market Maker. Anyways, basically, it's just an automated market maker. So the goal for this is to catch super early sniper mevbot transactions, I believe, and it operates in a way that it kind of snatches those fees if big buy orders like that come in. It's very, very good. A lot of people have been printing on them on big launches. I've seen some crazy P&Ls, but it's another product they offer. I don't go over it too much just because I'm not a professional. It's not how I've grown my account. I have hit some big wins on it, but that is our plan for TGE. So, what's up, goods? Striker, we can chat later. I'm glad you're in here, but I'm just gonna try to keep it education oriented. They do get copyrighted. I'm excited to see market making. This is major. Do you have a link for it? Link for what? I agree, Benji, but also you never really know the future. He's saying that it'll never be the same. January 2024 to Q2 2025 was a generational liquidity generation event. I agree with you, but like those events come and go. I mean, if we think back to what was it, 2020, 2021, they just come and go. You can't always predict it, but I know what you mean. But I don't think it's I think you can think out of the box and at least keep your mind open to something major happening in the future. Anyways, okay. We have enough people, I believe. So we're going to get into what market making is, how Meteora enables the average user to participate in otherwise untouchable areas, because Meteora allows the average retail buyer to market make, right? What does that mean? What is liquidity? We're going to start there. So, what is liquidity on a stock, on a coin, on anything? Liquidity is, by definition, the ease of which you can get into and out of an asset, whether that's buying or selling. So, let's have an example, right? This is the current price here. This is the current price. This is the current going price of the asset, 496K. Let's just assume that. Now, liquidity is going to exist on either side of the price, because there's going to be sell orders, right? There's going to be resting sell orders above the current price, and then there's going to be resting buy orders below the current price. So, we're going to switch over to the drawing. So, it's imperative that you know the difference between a market order and a limit order, right? So, a market order is going to be taking from the liquidity that is already resting at these different levels, right? So market orders are going to execute your order instantly, no matter what the price is. It's going to buy at the closest buy, or it's going to buy at the closest sell order, or it's going to sell at the closest buy order, the most efficient one. So big market orders, right, move the price, because people are impatient. When you see a stock pump super hard, that means that there are a lot of market buy orders coming in, because they're buying up all the sell orders. Now, a lot of buy pressure is important to move a stock up, but you have to keep in mind a lot of buy side liquidity is important for supporting the actual coin or stock, whatever it is, right? Because think about it. $1 million bought in right now at the current price. $1 million at the current price. One clips $1 million. This thing will just freaking go sky high, right? That's how it would work. That would never happen, right? Very rarely does that happen. But, for example, now, let's pretend that instead someone went into a Meteora pool and set up $1 million into a liquidity pool on this coin down here, right? $1 million is now spread between this range right here. So what happens to the coin when it comes down into this area where all of the liquidity is? It is going to have a near impossible 1 mil is right here. The token is going to have basically an impossible time breaking down if there's 1 million in buy orders stacked here, because there's just not going to be enough sellers to break through this wall. You can kind of think of liquidity as walls, right? So, like, instead of $1 million in buying pressure instantly and spiking the price, they are instead placing their liquidity here and supporting the chart. Basically, any sell order is just going to get eaten up because 1 mil is just bigger than the entire market cap. It's 10 times the liquidity pool, right? Would never break through. Now, that's a very, very extreme example, but you have to understand that resting liquidity can also work on the sell side of things, right? So up here, let's say there's 1 mil of sell orders. It is never ever going to break through this gate unless $1 million worth of buy orders rockets it through this area. So that is how liquidity works, right? Now, thinking about it, aside from Meteora, setting any limit order, whether it's buy or sell order, is providing liquidity. But Meteora differs because they pay you fees for providing liquidity. So when your orders get action, you are the market maker. You are the market maker because you are able to determine what fee you're going to charge, where you spread out your liquidity. So by doing that, you are able to just decide what fees you are going to charge the incoming orders. Does that make sense so far? Bro, Arena, I should have exited. I'm not going to look at too many other coins right now. This is more of an education session. I'm live on the Meteora community's YouTube, so that's why I'm not paying attention to TikTok chat too much. Even though we haven't had any questions, a lot of them are viewing in Brazil, so I think a lot of them are going to just translate. Anyways, besides the point, I'm trying to keep this stream more educational focused. Anyways, does anyone have any questions on what liquidity is? Think about them as just different limit orders, right? How I created this 1 mil range spread out between here. You can also think about it. If there is just a 1 mil buy order here, just at one price point, this is still liquidity. The price is still not going to break this level because it's just such a big wall. Will you timestamp that? Yes, let me timestamp that. Good call, YF. Now, we are going to get into how Meteora, how using Meteora translates to this whole liquidity example I gave you. We kind of already did, but we're going to go more in depth in just a second. Okay, this music is getting a little bit much here. I just have to turn this down, maybe. Is the music too loud in chat? Thank you, Benji. I'm trying to give free game. So, I've demonstrated all of this on the chart, right? So do you understand? So, now that we've gone over liquidity and how to use it, I'm going to show you how my strategy works, right? And this is what a lot of people do on Meteora currently. So, let's say I'm not shilling this coin. This is not something I'm going to open a range on. But, for example, if I thought that this thing might bottom around 100K, this is the price that I don't think it's going to go below. You can even go wider, and I have been going wider recently. So maybe I set this up even at like 64K, just to be safe. Now that the coin, we've determined where our ranges are on the coin, and we're saying, hey, I'm willing to bid it. I think the coin might do something like this, right? Have it move down, maybe consolidate and come back up for at least one pop. if something like this happens, you can get out for profit here. So, Meteora allows you to place your Solana. You can either, most of the pools are going to be in Solana, so you're going to deposit Solana to provide liquidity. But there are also certain pools where you can deposit USDC to provide liquidity. It really does not matter, but most of it is Solana, so we're going to stick with that example. So, when you are creating a pool on Meteora, Meteora allows you to set up basically individual limit orders all the way down. And the curves on Meteora allow you to shape your liquidity how you want. Why is this important? Because you can limit risk by making your buy orders larger towards the bottom of your range. This is going to protect your cost basis average when the coin goes down. Because as soon as the coin comes into your range, your buy orders, right, your pool that you have set up on Meteora is now going to get converted to the token. So at this point, right, let's say the price is right here, it's coming down. These 3 bins on Meteora, we say bins, but they basically mean limit orders. You can think about them as limit orders. These 3 bins are going to get swapped into the token. Now that these buy orders have been swapped, they are now switched to sell orders of the token, right? Because it's still the same price points, but the liquidity has just been converted. When the pool goes down into your range, Meteora charges a tax on all of the orders coming through, and they go directly into your pocket. So, when it goes down, you get fees in the token, right? You get BYND tokens. When the pool goes up and sells out of your limit orders back into Solana, you get fees in Solana. So that is the basis on how Meteora is set to operate. How do you determine how to change the playlist? Okay, we're going to go royalty-free lo-fi. How about that? I agree. Dude, you know the playlist is usually fire. I just really don't want to get their I don't want to get their YouTube copyrighted, so I'm trying to be careful. This is such a different vibe, but like I don't care. It's a teaching session. We're not getting lit right now. How do you determine how big your buy will be at each price when setting up the bid ask? So, how much are you up? On this wallet, I like to use this as a I'm not saying my results are going to be the same as yours, but Meteora has allowed me to grow this 1.5. I actually started with 1.5 Solana. I started with 1.5 Solana on August 1st of 2024, and I have been able to grow it to 124 Solana as of today. So that is what this wallet has. This is why I try to teach this stuff all the time. I think it's the best risk-reward way to trade meme coins and the best risk-reward software to use, best community to be a part of. I normally would not promote stuff, but this is like all I do. So I'm not going to not promote the platform that has allowed me to be consistently profitable. Anyways, going back to Benji's question. How do you determine how big your buy will be at each price when setting up the bid ask? That is a good question because usually when you're entering a range, we're just going to use BYND for an example, right? I don't love this token, but we might as well use it. So what are you going to do to open a liquidity pool, right? First thing you do is you grab the CA from the chart. Then you're going to go to Meteora, go to the home page, explore pools, just paste the CA. You're going to see all of the available pools. Unfortunately, I think there's some coordinated DDoS attacks or something because everything is just moving very, very slow today. Should I keep my $16 in VWA Vanguard? Vanguard is a very interesting case. I know a lot of my friends are actually starting to exit it, so I would not say it is the best thing to hold because it is a little bit sketchy, but do with that what you will. Do we LP for Rage? We can look at Rage right after this one. So anyways, how do you determine how big your range is going to be? You are usually not going to be able to to determine how much each soul you have in each bin, just because there's so many bins. But what you can do is say, hey, you see how right here I have a minus 74% range. So hey, I'm willing to spread. Usually my size is 5 to 6 Solana, and I usually go from 85% ranges to minus 95% ranges. If you're going tighter, let's say I wanted to do a 75% range, I wanted to be a little bit more concentrated, you just have to determine how much Solana you want to split up. For example, 5 Solana here, towards the bottom of my range, I will probably be down about 1 to 1.5 Solana. If for some reason this token goes all the way down through my range, I'm going to be down about 1.5-ish Solana just from the pool depreciating. Our hope is that we make up fees on the way down to offset that loss, to either soften the blow when we have to cut the loss, or hopefully we get out break even at the very bottom. But regardless, when you set up your range, 99% of the time you're just going to want to cut the loss after it goes out of your range, just to protect your capital. You don't have to be right on everything. This is a flaw that I've been seeing in myself. I have been wanting to be right on everything recently. I've been looking for home runs. This is not what I grew the account on. That's not the strategy I grew the account on. So you are going to want to cut your loss, be disciplined if it comes out of your range. But with that said, this platform allows you to take such a smaller loss down here than if you were doing any other method. So that's how you set it up. And you're just going to have to guesstimate, right? Let's say you have a 75% range. To answer your question again, let's say you have a 75% range and you are looking to risk, let's say 1 Solana. Then you might go with 4 Solana as your initial size. You can go with any amount, right? You don't have to have 4 or 5 or even 1 Solana to do this, but you can even make a pool with 0.2 just to see how the fees work, and so you can get comfortable with it. Do you have YouTube? Yes, I do. If you go on YouTube, you can either go to my Crime XBT, which you can find in the link tree. I'm live on the LP Army TV right now. This is the Meteor community. If you go to their Twitter and their they have an LP Army Twitter, you can see right here, Met_LP Army. You can go there. Very good community. I don't hang up in that chat as much just because I have my smaller communities that I like to pay attention to. But if you're looking for general information, anything officially Meteor is going to be a very good resource for you. But yes, I do have a YouTube, to answer your question. You said minus 85 to 90% usually. And the reason I say that is because things have just been rugging super, super low recently. So I like to be extremely, extremely protected. So on this, for example, I would probably go 90%. And do you see how there's so many different bins? 118 bins. You can think about that kind of as 118 different little limit orders between here, the current price, and minus 90% of the price. This is actually a very big bin step pool, so that is why there's not as many bins. We can get into that a different time. It's not imperative that you know how bin steps work right now. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and look at the Rage pool, or the Rage coin for this guy. I have been keeping an eye on it, but I haven't been paying attention to it recently. So this honestly probably wouldn't have been a terrible coin to be in. Check out Derpy. Did that help, Benji? Do you have any questions? VWA. VWA is a very odd coin. My friends have made a good amount LPing this, but this is just very, very odd. I don't know what's going on here. Someone is clipping out major amounts and then someone's buying, I guess, to keep it up. It's very odd. I mean, I don't know. This could go higher, but like this is not something I'd be super confident in holding. Just because it's just a little bit sketchy in my book. Rage would have been a good pool to be in, actually. Spitting in a can live is crazy work. I have to, bro. I'm sorry. Oh, I wish I had some water with me though. Actually, I have to go get some drinkable yogurt real quick. Benji, if you are a newer user of this platform, feel free to send more questions because I need more topics to go over. Do you have any questions about how you open pools on Meteor? Or basically, my best advice is for you to just hang around, follow Meteor on Twitter, get into the community, and then just ask me questions. I'm always happy to help. No, I agree. I know the lore on Rage. It is good lore. 40k in volume is a little bit low to be in. But, for example, let's say you really like this meme and you're watching on the run-up, but you didn't want to buy on this run-up, right? Because buying when a coin is pumping is always just scary, usually not the move. Usually not the best risk-reward move to make. So, instead, what you might want to do is, hey, when it drops down, I might want to bid this. On this red candle right here, maybe even a bit lower, this is where you could start bidding and set up a range from like here to maybe 500k, right? I personally would have gone probably lower, to be honest, because I'm always scared nowadays. So I probably would have done something like 200k. But let's say you set up a range like I was saying, and you were providing liquidity starting right here at the beginning of the chart, right there, and you provided liquidity all the way down. Sorry, this is pretty scuffed. But let's say your range is something like this, right? This actually would have been a good play to be in because it comes down, has a movement up, nice spike, down, spike. You're getting fees in the token when it comes down. You get fees in Solana when it spikes, fees when it comes down, fees in Solana when it spikes, right? Bounces around, wakes up. This is a very good range. And even right here, at this point in the chart, this is a very good play just to go ahead and take your profits and move on. But staying in this still wouldn't be awful because you can see it hasn't broken down completely. So not something I'm going to get in right now, but just a good example of how you could have played something back here when you saw it have all of this momentum. Hopefully that makes sense. What is the difference of buying at spot and being liquidity and getting fees? So the difference in buying spot, we're going to go back to this token. The difference in buying spot, right? Let's say you buy at this price point right here. You are in, I don't know, let's say 2 soul spot at this moment. The only thing you benefit from buying at spot here is if the coin just goes straight up. If it goes down at all, you are in trouble. You're not like obviously in trouble like you're already down a bunch of money, but you're not benefiting from it going down. So, by setting up the liquidity pool, you are actually benefiting from it going down a little bit, and you are able to get exposure that way instead of buying it right here and being exposed to the downside when it drops, if it drops. Now, on the other side of that coin, if I set up my liquidity pool here, and you can see it's just going up, you are not going to get any fees, you're not going to get any exposure, because all of your liquidity is sat right here, and the coin has not gone into range and touched it. So, the only issue, and I don't really consider an issue because if a coin goes up from where I'm bidding, I really don't care. There's going to be a million other opportunities. You don't have to get action on every pool you set up. If it goes up from here, I don't care. Like, congrats, I'll find another play. But if it goes down, which it likely will, the bottom is likely not here. You know what I'm saying? So, setting up liquidity, you have such a wide range. You are only going to be in trouble if it grinds down and falls out the bottom. This is the worst case scenario. It can happen. It's happened to me, but it's not entirely likely. The other scenario, right, is let's say it comes down, gets a little spike here, gets a little spike here, and pops back to here. You can most likely get out of the position with profit here. Even though the coin has gone down and just had one spike, you can be profitable doing strategies like this. Now, the ideal situation, obviously, is it bounces around here forever, gets a spike, comes down, gets a spike, and comes all the way up, and then you are holding all of your fees. The good thing about this is you don't only earn tokens in Solana, you are gaining exposure to this. So let's say you have 2 Sol in this range right here, right? Sorry, 2 Sol in this range that I've mapped out. As it goes down, your pool is going to depreciate. It might go down to 1.6 Sol at this point right here, right? Your pool might be worth 1.6 Sol, but you're gaining fees that is going to offset the pool depreciation. A lot of LPers, the term is impermanent loss, but I just call it pool depreciation, so it kind of resonates better if you don't know what impermanent loss means. But they're basically the same thing. So you are getting fees in the token as it goes down. You get fees in Solana when it goes up. Keep in mind, you're collecting fees the whole time. You can sell your fees at any time to limit risk, right? Like, let's say on this, it bounces to here and you're like, oh, I'm not super confident. I want to claim some fees and sell and just take my money. That's completely fine to do. But if for some reason you're super, super bullish on this token and you think it's going to rip super hard, you can keep your fees, right? Your 2 Sol position down here is going to be worth maybe 1.7, 1.6 Solana. Once it goes back out of your range, this 2 Sol is going to be 2 Sol again, and you are no longer are providing LP as it gets above this point. But if you held your fees, you now have basically, you can think about it, free fees that you collected while it was in your pool, and now you have exposure to the token if you are bullish on it and you think it's going to go higher. What's the Met airdrop for 72K? Yes, the average price of the airdrop seems to be around 72K because this is the this is my allocation, 72. Roughly Met. Could be a little bit higher, could be a little bit lower on Thursday when it drops, but we are not quite sure. Timestamp? Thank you, YF. I don't know what I'd do without you. What's that through? It's through Meteora. And show the bearish scenario, says Tarzan. Okay, bearish scenario. Going back to it. Where are we going? BYND. Bearish scenario. I think we already went over it, kind of. Bearish scenario is the token comes down, right? Comes into your pool, doesn't really get any good bounces, and just kind of fades off to nothing. Because you want movement, you want spikes as it's coming down in your pool so that you generate fees in Solana. But even so, bearish scenario, right? This thing dumps down. Your 2 Sol is probably going to be worth about 1.2 as it gets out of range. That's just my guesstimation. It could be a little bit more, it could be a little bit less. But you have to keep in mind you're going to be down roughly like 40% towards the bottom of your range usually. So what do you do at this point? The best advice I can give you is to just go ahead, get out of the pool. So going back to a current pool, let's say cap for some reason dumps all the way down out of the bottom of my range. What am I going to do? As soon as it leaves this last bin, I'm already going to be keeping an eye on it because I'm like, whoa, this is not a good situation. You really don't want to be sweating down here. Like when the coin is very low, you don't want to be hawking the chart. It's not a good feeling and wondering whether it's going to bounce or not. But at this point, if it was down here, I would start sweating. I'd be looking at it, and then I'd be like, okay, I'm going to have to withdraw if this breaks down anymore. So what would I do? Withdraw and close position, right? Withdraw and close position. I'm going to get, at this point, it's going to be some Solana fees and then a lot of the token. So you're going to confirm that, and then what I do to cut the loss is I just go on over to Jupiter and sell for the loss. Just take the loss and move on. That's what you have to do in the bearish scenario, right? Just get out. Is the stream stacked? I've been trying to make sure we're focusing on education. Dude, I never alerted that we're live. Oh my gosh, I'm such a thrower. Crime season EP03 live now. Forgot to notify the TL. RIP. On at Met LP Army TV. Oops. Anyways, we just went over like all of the material I had. That's unfortunate. Any questions on market making? Like how much you get back from farming fees? So, Unc, let's say you put in 5 SOL at 500k market cap, price goes down to 250k. 50% impermanent loss, but how much on fees? Are you saying that you have 5 SOL in a range from 500 to 250k, or is your range wider? And I can't tell you that, Benji, because the only issue is if it drops down, if it drops straight down, you're not going to get that much in fees, right? For example, let's adjust our range here now. Let's say it is 600k to, you want to do 50%, so around 320. So let's say you have 5 SOL in this range right here. If it dumps down straight down in one candle, you are probably only going to get like maybe $100 in fees if you have 5 SOL here. What you really are hoping to see is something that comes down super hard, and you want a good bounce, because that is why I always preach to go wide ranges, because you don't want a situation where it dumps out, you have to cut the loss, and then it gets the bounce that you're looking for. So that's why I'm always preaching minus 85% ranges, minus 80% ranges, anything past there. How long are you going to stay on one position or your exit strategy? So, oh, what's up, Nessie? Is it Nessie or Nessie? Nessie. We're going to go with Nessie. So how long do you stay on one position? So it really depends. It depends on my confidence in the coin. For example, this cap one I've been in for almost 20 days at this point now. You can see my range on here. And to be honest, I probably should have I think I actually got into it back here. So this is when I first started the range back here. To be honest, even at a point like this, I'm willing to get out and just take the profit and move on. If it gets something like this, I'm definitely willing to take the profit and get out. For whatever reason, I didn't take the profit. I think I just missed my opportunity. So that's why I'm still in here. But on any strong spike is usually a very, very okay time to get out. For example, on Lion, when I was LPing Lion back here, on this spike, I stayed in because I had strong conviction on this coin. That's the only reason I stayed in. Usually, on big volume spikes, on coins I'm not super confident in, I'm willing to just get out on something like this. So, usually I'm either looking for a bounce, I'm looking for one bounce to get out, or if it falls out of my range, I'm just going to cut the loss, is usually. Can you show us some plays you made and how much volume the chart has, plus fees collected so we can see average? Yes, let me find a good example for you. I'm actually going to go ahead and get out of virus real quick. We'll go over that in just 1 second. I'm actually going to keep caps open. I like that chart for examples. Did that answer your question, Nasser? Or do you have any specific examples you want me to go over? This actually isn't a terrible looking chart, if I'm being real with you, and I'm not super in range. I could keep this. I have been wanting to clean up the portfolio a little bit more. So for example, lab, this is kind of a position I'm down bad in. Actually, that's not a good example. Cap is an okay example. So you can see I have a, we can actually map out the range for you. We might as well just do cap. So if you want to map out the ranges specifically on the chart, what you can do to, oh sweet, I already have them mapped out. So you can see on this range, for example, I was 1.4 to 1.6. So this is the range we had on here. I had 5 Solana in this one. So you can see when it came down to here, I believe I was down probably about 1 Solana in permanent loss. You have to keep in mind, even though it looks like a big drop from here to here, you have to keep in mind it's really not that major, because watch this. Ready? From here to here is down 78%. Down from here to here is another 50%. So you have to keep in mind, even though it looks like this is such a big range, I'm still protected minus 50% even at the bottom of this. So even though it looks like I'd be super in range, I'm probably only halfway through at this point. And that's how the charts can be deceiving when you're opening these pools, because the percentages can get very, as percentages go down, they decrease exponentially, right? So on the chart, towards the bottom, a bar this big is going to be way more percentages than something that is a big bar right here, right? A big bar up here, I'm going to only be barely in range here. So and going back to your thing, I was about, what, 2.5 Solana in range at the bottom at this point right here. So I'm about halfway in range, comes all the way back up, and at this point, if I recall correctly, I had $200 worth of the cap fee, and I had about $100 worth of Solana. So off of 5 Solana, 900 bucks, I made 300 doing that, and I was only down, I guess I was down 1.5, so roughly 300 at one point. This is all guesstimation because it's not super live, but, you know. Impressive drawing. That's so fucked because my drawing was way more on point when I was making it than it looks in that picture. Oh my gosh, whatever. I'm following everyone back, by the way. If you want to follow me right now, my handle is CrimeXBT. Anyone following right now will receive the follow back. Frittata, thank you for liking. Cigar Man, the goats, as always. Anyways, let's look at the TikTok chat. Timestamp, maybe? I didn't think I explained it that well there. I kind of jumbled my thoughts, but I guess we can timestamp it. I need to mark this one. I have another stream for you from last night, YF, that I need clipped, but I've just been so busy, man. Meteor airdrop, correct. Meteor airdrop is the one I'm referring to in the title. And we are actually live, believe it or not, we are actually live on the LP Army YouTube channel. Is there any dashboard or site to check whether we're in profit or not? That is a very good question. So, I haven't talked to Rich recently, but Miracle, thank you for the follow. Rich King, who is a good friend of mine, feel free to DM him. He runs Ultra LP. This one, use Ultra LP, very good software. I don't use it that much because the way I track my P&L, real quick, I'm going to give you the raw method that you can use to track your P&L. So I always know usually what amount of money I go into a position with. So for example, I always go whole numbers of Solana, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. I always do it like that because I can check, you can check the value of your position, right, for 0.95 Solana. So I know I'm down at 0.05 Solana, and then I can calculate what my fees are at, and I can add that on and see how much, if I'm in profit or if I'm in loss, right? So just go into positions with equal amounts. You can even do, if you don't have that much money, you can do 0.5, right? As long as you remember what you entered the pool with, you are always going to be able to calculate whether you are in profit or loss. If we can go into maybe a little bit more of a hairy pool. For example, on FA, I went into this one with, this is actually not a great pool. But I wanted to bid this regardless, even if it wasn't a good printer. But for example, right, I went into this pool with 7 Solana. I am now down 0.48, right? I'm down 0.48, and I've only made 0.09 in fees. So I'm down roughly 0.38, right, on this position currently. So that's a good way to check it. Going to the software, use Ultra LP is the one that I will shill because they have made a very good real-time P&L software. So that is what I would recommend. You can also use lpagent.io. Use Ultra LP is what I am going to refer you to. And just shoot them a DM. They're going to give you an access code, and then you can use their software. Let's see. What's your PC and monitor setup? Yo, Met, correct. Thank you, YF, for the kind shill. YF is my clipper, but he's also one of my #1 supporters, so I appreciate him dearly, dearly. I wish there was more here. Now that I've explained kind of how the software works, we've gone over market making, etc., etc. We might as well look for some newer pairs to get degenerate on. I'm down to enter some sketchy pools if the opportunity presents itself. So this is the screener that I use for new pools to LP. It's very, very basic. 10K liquidity minimum just to eliminate some of the scam tokens. 100K market cap, 40 mil max, 36-hour age, and then 200K 24-hour volume. This is just you're gonna get a lot of BS that you don't need to necessarily look into, but usually I take a look at all of the DEX paid ones. This is not something I've been doing recently, but we might as well look because there is not too much else popping right now. And this is what I used to do every single day. At this time last year, I personally think it was a lot easier to LP. It was a lot easier to choose the coins. The coins were a lot more clear. But yes, I would just go on the scanner page. I would go on the home page, and I would just look. I would just glance at every single chart because it's very easy to tell whether it's even worth a second glance. For example, this is going to get an immediate X out. Usually this would have lasted 0.1 second on my screen, but this is just a clear farm. You can see the volume. You can see how the bars are just constantly moving up. This thing is going to go to 0 in 1 candle eventually. We can honestly save this one to look at it later. I should remember. Garbage as well, same exact deal. Gonna rug. It doesn't even have any liquidity. I mean, if you can see why I don't look at new pairs anymore, you're getting a prime example because these are just all garbage, right? Garbage. Ballsack coin, not as bad. This volume looks a little bit farmy to me. It might be organic, but it's not that strong of a meme coin. If I entered this, I would I would not sleep on this overnight, right? Maybe this is something that I set up a pool on from. If you're looking to get degenerate, you could do something like this, 300 to, what is it, maybe 50K? I think that's maybe 87K. That's an appropriate range. But because I'm going to bed soon, there's no shot in hell that I open a pool on this because I don't trust anything nowadays. I've learned too many lessons. So This is the best chart we've seen so far. It's still barely a B, like B minus C plus kind of play, in my opinion. Zap, no. Maybe there's some more to it because it is a meteor launch, but usually you tend to see a lot of tech, a lot of tech tokens being launched through Meteor's dynamic pool. I just don't even know what this is. I don't really want to go to their website. I'm not going to play it. It's not worth it. It's really not worth my time to look at that. Badger, kind of reminds me of Ballsack coin. Not the strongest narrative. Okay chart, right? Does have a pretty big community. I don't know why it's the official BTC mascot though. It's not strong enough for me to bid, so I'm going to skip on that. No. Ugh, they're just so bad. Like, everything is copying the X from me. I don't understand how to monitor using market cap because our position is based on price. So that's a good point. Because on Meteora, it's always going to give you the range in Solana, right? But the thing is you can calculate, right? Let's say you're opening a pool on what were we just on? On Cap, right? Let's say we're opening a pool on Cap. Silent, thank you for the gifts. Wait. What the heck? Silent, thank you for the gifts. Sorry, I missed those. I don't understand how to monitor using market cap. So, basically, let's say that you're opening a position on Cap. Let's say you're looking to do minus 85%. It's not going to be an exact science when you're looking at market cap, but you can calculate the market cap it's going to be at 85% down, right? You can just do, let's switch back over to market cap. Let's say you want to cover an 85% range. You would just do 1.68 times 0.15 is going to be so 250K. Hopefully that makes sense. I know that might have seemed a little bit weird, but basically you're just calculating what the market cap would be 85% down. So 1.68 mil times 0.15, right? Because minus 85% corresponds to 0.15 equaling the market cap. So it'd be 250K, 0.25 mil market cap. But you don't necessarily have to, you don't always have to keep it in market cap. If you draw something, right? Like, let's say here is 750K. If you switch over to Sol, you know that market cap is at this level. So it's not an exact science, unfortunately. It could be maybe easier if there was a market cap display on here, but it's hard to do that because it's denominated in Solana and the market cap doesn't always equal it. Anyways, not to get complicated, but just map it out in Solana. You can do both if you're unsure, and just guesstimate what the market cap is going to be, whatever percentage down it's going to be. Just calculate what is 1.6 mil, 85% down. Blinker checkpoint. No blinker checkpoints on this stream so far. We've been streaming for a little bit over an hour. I'm going to wait for a few more YouTube questions, and then we can continue on the TikTok stream and mess around a little bit more. But like I said, every Monday stream to start, I'm going to keep it nice and professional, nice and education oriented, just so I keep a good impression. But we have so many people in the TikTok stream. If you guys, I'm trying to think of an incentive for you guys to go to LP Army TV and subscribe and like this stream. If you go do that and DM me, I'll follow you back. I guess that's what I can do. Sorry, Toxic. I literally, unfortunately, a lot of the lessons I'd gone on earlier, so a lot of the basics on how Meteor works, we've already covered. I can go over it in a second. But if you guys would support me, just go over to LP Army TV. I'll link it in the chat actually. If you want to go over there, subscribe, give them a like. This is the official Meteor community. You can find their X handles here. Just join. Feel free to join the community. Obviously, drop me a follow on TikTok and DM me if you have any questions. You can join my personal Telegram. It's a little bit of a smaller knit community, and I try to get back to questions more. But if you're just looking for general information, anything officially Meteor is going to be a very, very good resource. But yeah, if you have subscribed and liked, just follow me, DM me, and let me know that you followed, and I'll give you a follow back. Dang, all of the lo-fi music has stopped. Okay, give me 1 second. If you guys give me 1 second, I'm going to get into another Meteor explanation for you newer viewers. Is Memecoin dead or not? It's not as active as it was, but a lot of people that use this Meteor software are still profitable. I'm still profitable in these times, so yes, that is why I am still trying to teach this stuff, because I believe it is still. If you want to join the community, just follow me, shoot me a DM. All of my links are on my profile, but like I said, if you want a follow back, go ahead to LP Army TV right now. Drop a subscribe, drop a like. Do you think the meme coin scene... Thank you, YF. You're basically a double as a mod at this point. What's your X, dude? The X is Crime XBT. No period in the middle. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Give me 1 second, and then we are going to go into how Meteor works again. If a coin 10x a spot, do you still get 10x in liquidity? Not if... No. So that's the one issue, not the one issue, but the one thing that you have to be aware of. Let's go back to the BYND chart. What was I doing it in? So we're going to get rid of this. Actually, we're just going to remove all drawings. So let's say that you have a liquidity pool set up from here to here, right? If for some reason the price 10x's from here, doesn't touch your liquidity pool at all, nothing will happen. You won't gain, you won't lose anything, because your liquidity pool that you have set down here is not getting touched. Right? Your liquidity is here. But for example, right, let's say instead the coin comes into your range is here. You're collecting fees in the token here, and it comes all the way back out. Now all of the fees that you have collected, you can hold for a 10x if you believe it's going to 10x. But like I said, if the price is here and just goes straight up, you will not get anything, no. He's modding as well. Do you enter more stable pool like Sol USDC? Now say I do not. Maybe I will after this Meteor airdrop. I'll start experimenting with it. But my stack has never been really viable for me to LP on Sol USDC. But that's not to say if you had USDC and you wanted to enter Solana, there's no reason to not use Meteor to enter Solana. But short answer, no, I do not do that sort of stuff. I'm usually only providing LP on memes. What if you don't do range on liquidity and it's at spot level entry? So you're saying what if you don't do a range and you just set up your liquidity all right here? Is that what you're saying? In this case, if that's what you're talking about, your liquidity would just act as a limit order, right? So technically, you can also use Meteor to just get into a coin, right? You can set up your whole liquidity just a little bit down. Let's say price goes down into your range. after it has gone through your range and has swapped, you can just withdraw and hold spot if that's your intention. That's super risky to me, and I usually don't do that. But by doing that, you're only going to get fees on a one-time pass-through. Having this range ensures that whatever price moves at in here, you're still getting fees. If you just spread your liquidity through one limit order, you're just going to get a one-time fee, and it's only probably, if you've one soul, it might be like $2 worth of fees, right? Does that answer your question? Dude, what is playing right now? Like, I swear. Okay, here we go. This is way better. We had like a xylophone playing in the background. Soothing, correct. That's the aim here. Alright, I'm waiting for Nase to ask any more questions. And then I guess we can go through one more review on what Meteor is for those that are in the TikTok chat. What's next, Whiff? I cannot tell you the answer to that. Sorry guys, the stream hasn't been, there's nothing to brag upon. No recent plays that I've absolutely printed on besides Lion. I'm still writing the high from that one. For example, I guess we can go over the Lion example one more time for this stream. But this was a meme that I had confidence in just because I like the meme. Usually the coins I'm selecting nowadays are just because they have social presence, right? The Lion, maybe not as much now, but the Lion has been just in everywhere on Twitter. You know, the Lion doesn't concern himself with taking showers, etc., etc. But I like this meme. It reminded me of sort of 6'7". It reminded me of kind of a boat kid sort of meme. And so that's why I was willing to bid it. I had a very, very heavy range actually. And you can see I almost got wrecked here because it got very, very close to the bottom of my range. You have to keep in mind, I'm not happy here. I'm not happy at all here. This is like looking like I'm going to take probably a 2-soul loss on this pool that I set up. But the reason I'm willing to bid this and the reason why I was able to make so much on this is because I went so wide on this range. Because nowadays, you cannot predict the bottom of a meme coin. They go to literal zero. They go to 20K. They go to 30K market cap. 100K is no longer the reasonable bottom for these meme coins. So that's why I went so wide here, right? And I saw it get this volume spike. I stayed in because I was like, oh, it's getting some attention. I might as well just stay in. Usually I'm not able to perfect a play like this, but I got lucky. I had the right idea on it. So after it came out of my range, after it went above this green line, you have to keep in mind, whatever soul I set this up with, I believe it was 6 Solana in this range. My 6 Solana is now worth 6 Solana again. Down here, I'm probably down about 1.5, maybe a little bit more, right? I'm probably down 1.5. But as it comes out, I think I had, I don't know, $300 worth of Solana fees. And at this point in the chart, this was worth $780 worth of Lion here. Now I'm looking at it in the eyes of a trader. How am I going to sell on the way up? So unfortunately, I did sell half of my fees here, but it went on to pull this crazy move, and I ended up selling out most around 4.6 mil up here. So that ended up turning into like a 8 Solana total win on this one. And it's not frequent that I hit very, very good trades like this, but this is just an example of something where I really like the meme. The chart had reasonable volume. It didn't look farmed. It didn't look volume botted. So that's why I was willing to play this one. Are you in All Things Lead to Rome? No, but we should definitely look at that chart because I was looking at it last night. Can you check chord for the... Yes. I will look at that. ATO, you have to also keep in mind that when I'm saying making pools, making a pool on a new coin usually costs 0.21 Sol total. But if a coin has significant volume, if it's been around for a little while, there's usually going to be a pool created. And what you want to do, right, we're going to use room. Oh, yikes. This thing got destroyed. Oh my goodness. I did not think it was going to look like that. Wow. That's a Zooey Mama moment for me. That's crazy. So, Paul, you're new here. What's your favorite crypto? So, we are mostly trading meme coins on Solana. So, we're operating on the Solana blockchain. We're looking at charts on Dex Screener, and we are using Meteora, this beautiful platform, to trade, provide liquidity on, etc. What was I doing? Looking at Rome. Yeah, I don't even know what to say about this. How did this thing get killed so hard? This is an example where you could have, let's say you're up here at 2 mil. You're like, oh, I don't think this thing's going to drop below 500K, right? This is an example of where you can get very, very, very wrecked because it's just going to go down lower than you expect. This is why I just set such wide ranges all the time now. What's the trading platform? So I say it's a trading platform. It's actually considered a DEX, a decentralized exchange. But on this platform, we enter liquidity pools, right? And we are able to farm fees while getting exposure to tokens. So basically what you do is you put in Solana. They act as limit orders, and when the token goes into your range, when it goes down into your price range and moves in between these price points, you collect fees in the token and in Solana. What do you think of Pengu? I said, YF, I'm going to look at it. I read it last night at like 4 a.m. and fell asleep. That's straight. I am probably going to edit most of the videos for now. But if I start getting more busy, I'll definitely send you that stuff. If you have anything you want to send me or anything you've done, though, I'd be happy to check it out. All right, YouTube chat, do we have any other questions? I'm probably going to Dante, thank you for the gift, Dante. I didn't see that. I'll give you back a follow. I followed on Twitter. Did you say you're using the Met screener? Let me see. I'm following everyone back. So usually I'm not using any specific screener. If I'm using new pairs, where's my screener at? This is the new pair screener I use, right? 10K liquidity minimum, 100K market cap minimum, 40 mil market cap maximum, 36-hour age, and then 200K volume. This is just gonna, if you're like bored and you're always on your computer or you're looking for new stuff, feel free to check out new pairs here. This is not really where I frequent nowadays. Usually I am just on the homepage looking at the trending tokens just to see where the mindshare is at. This is interesting. What the fuck is this? Whoa. What is this? This is interesting because it's getting so much volume. It's on a dynamic bonding curve. Followed by the meteorite collective. That's very interesting. Sorry guys, I'm trying to see what we're looking at here because it's getting so much volume. Does anyone have any information for me on this? What the lore is? I still don't understand what it is. A character inspired by the tweets of Solana Foundation. Oh, it's the official designated name for Solana in Chinese. Is that true? Huh. How old is this? Okay, so we might as well check out what the pool looks like here. Finish my homework, bro. Peace. Why did it add peace at the end, bro? I thought you were dipping when you said that. Is this on Meteora? So the charts we're looking at, Abstract, the charts we're looking at are on Dex Screener. You can see it's dexscreener.com. It's just one of the many charting platforms. There's some other ones you can use, but Dex Screener is usually what I'm looking at. I just like the layout, I like the aesthetic, and then at Meteora.ag is the actual platform that we're opening positions on. Meteora.ag. I can send it in the chat real quick. I got to go in a bit. Don't forget to timestamp any good info and also send the stream you said. Will do, YF. Thank you, sir. Do you always do one-sided? I was in that one at 6 mil and got out. What's up, Becca? Is this Becca from TikTok? Yo, crime, it's time for CS. No, it's not time for CS. Yes, Becca, 99% of the time I do one-sided. You were in, what was it, the Chinese one at 6 mil? Were you LPing it at 6 mil? Hey, we have some YouTube chats. That's actually hype. So you were LPing it like just right here. Yeah, so the strategy, the one-sided strategy is not going to work very well when coins are pumping. But that's just, I'm usually always looking for kind of the downturn to provide liquidity. So, do I want to bid this? We might as well. We might as well set up one position on stream. Why not? So what we're going to do, Becky, you probably know what I'm doing here, but it doesn't matter. We're going to go to home, select the ticker. Now, for you guys in chat that might be wondering how to open a position, and you might be wondering which of these pools to choose, right? There's 5 different pools. Just keep it simple at the beginning and just do the one with the most TVL, right? Sometimes a 5 or higher fee pool or higher bin step pool can be ideal in some situations, but for the most part, keep it simple. Go into the pool that's going to get the most order flow. For example, you see how the TVL here is 754K. This one's 30K, 2K, $800. Just go to the one that has the most TVL. That's the best advice I can give you. So if we're setting up a range, I'm actually a little bit more confident on this one. Just because it's kind of innovative, right? It's a new Chinese ticker. This is the name for Solana in Chinese. Officially, I guess. It's getting a ton of volume and it is a high market cap, so I am probably going to put on a minus 80% range. That should be fine for me, down to 2 mil-ish. And then what we are going to do is just recreate that sort of curve in Meteora, right? So we are back in the pool page. We're going to do 5 Solana right now, and we're going to do actually 82%. So 82%, we're going to do 5 Solana, and actually we're going to do 6 because I'm not going to layer any on spot. If you're in the YouTube chat, Becca and others, if you would just subscribe and drop a like, just so Meteora and the LP Army continues to have me on every Monday. Alright, Jason, you're catching the ban. You can't be doing that in the chat. No siree. It's almost 1 a.m. Yes, Strikey, it's almost 1 a.m. for me as well. Are you in any trades? I am in a few trades, but they're not what you think. I'm mostly in a bunch of different liquidity pool positions. Thank you, Becca. That's so nice. Arena's getting some action, actually. Let's see how far we are in range here. Ooh, Arena is dumping. I actually want to keep an eye on this. This is going to be a decent example so we can see how tokens move. I like this. I like where I'm at. We're actually going to go ahead and split screen this real quick. Oh, yeah, that's good. we're going to split. Okay. So we have our curve up and we have the chart up. Let's zoom out a little bit. I'm trying to get this for you TikTokers so you can see everything. So you can see it's at 1.7 mil. It's dumping pretty hard. We can even go to the 1 minute just to get even more dicey. And we're actually going to go ahead and, just for the convenience of you seeing what I'm doing, I'm going to go ahead and switch it to price to Solana. So for example, we are at 136 to 138. So 136. That's good enough. 136 to 136. Okay, that's roughly my range, right? So do you see how, even though this is super, super wide, this dump... Okay, we're getting some bounces here. Do you see how the bin just moved? That means I got fees in Solana. So we're going to try to just watch this for a second and see how the price moves. At this point, I'm going to look around and see if there's any questions, because this is actually not a bad example of when a token is dumping and how we might be able to profit off of a dump and bounce. Can you play that edit you make, Loki? Want to see it again? The one that took 40 hours. Yeah, we'll play the edit, actually. Dude, I have made this edit and I haven't put out one YouTube video. Like, what is wrong with me? I spent all this time on it. I thought I was just going to post it and it was going to blow up. That's okay that it didn't. Let me see here. Here's the edit for you.
Are you in the mafia?
Am I in the what?
Whatever you want to call it. Organized crime.
I just don't even feel anything watching this. I don't even get hype anymore because I've seen it so many freaking times and I spent so much time on it, bro. Y'all fuck with that? What's the YouTube channel? The YouTube channel, we're live on the actual official Meteora community channel. LP Army, I don't know why it's fucked up like that. LP Army TV is the YouTube. Go ahead and, it's because you don't have the mustache in it. You think so? Damn, I should have kept the stash. Dude, I just get lazy. I don't even mean to grow it out, to be honest. Damn, no TikTok juice for the edit. Unbelievable. Anyways, LP Army TV, if you'd be so kind, I will give you a follow back if you go to their YouTube account, subscribe, and like this live stream. Just DM me, I subscribed, and I'll follow you back. That's the incentive. You're down 50K on Fartcoin. Ooh. Drop CA to trade. No, I'm not gonna drop the CA. I mean, it's Arena, but I'm not buying this right now. I'm showing you. I'm currently in a liquidity pool, so I'm trying to show you how the fees work when something's moving up or down. Couldn't find live stream filled account YouTube though. Here, try to use this link. What about BYND? We went over BYND earlier. We did a few examples on it. So hopefully we get a bounce here just so you can see one bin move, just so you guys get some experience on how it works. Alright. It's now getting very, very boring because nothing is happening. So we're actually just going to put this to the side and look at the chat. But hopefully you saw how slow it can be, right? But as price moves, you are going to get bin movements. You are going to collect fees. Might as well look at BYND one more time. So you can see how, right? When I made this example earlier, if you had bought up here at this price, you would now be in trouble because the price is going down. If you had set up a pool, the Chinese one is moving, is it really? Damn. But there's nothing I can do because, like, I guess you could chase it up with bids, but this is not something I'm going to touch, you know? Because it's just moving up. My strategy is not to necessarily play coins that are going straight up. Very interesting, though. I think having this range here is going to do fine. Imagine this thing runs to 100 mil, though. But the thing is, even if it runs to 100 mil, it's still not worth it for me to buy. Like, it's just not my strategy. But we're not. I don't think we're not in a bear market. People are just sweating. I mean, dude, Bitcoin is still above 100K. Like, do you know how insane that is? But I know what you mean because stuff has just been going down. People have been getting rinsed, trying to predict when it's going to break out, when it's going to break down. So, not a very good environment for perp traders, meme coin traders. If you're using Meteora, have for the most part been doing fine. So. That is why I'm preaching this, because it's really the only software that really allows you to be consistently profitable trading meme coins in this current market, in my opinion. Obviously, you're going to have those exceptions that hit crazy 10x's every week or whatever, but I'm not one of those people. Very, very small percentage of people are able to do that and be perfect. Let's see, did anyone else follow? Nash, I'll give you a follow back, brother. It's actually getting some motion. But yeah. Check perk if you have a sec. Got you. I followed. Thank you, Paw. I'll give you a follow back. Oh, maybe not. Perk Rogers. Wait, is this the official perk? From Tolly's Percolator. Because the whole narrative was that Tolly is making a Dex on Solana, right? It's really interesting. It's actually probably not a bad bid. CXOBG. I want to see what the pools are looking like. Are you in it right now, Becca? $40K TVL. Yo, Crime, what's popping? I sent you a reply, by the way. I don't know if you saw. Did you send me one on Twitter? I'm not sure. Oh, you sent me a reply on TikTok. Then I probably have not looked. I'll look at it after stream. I promise. I promise. Oh, because you were launching your coin. That's right. Strikio's pack. Not in a pool. I just got the coin. Interesting. I bet the pool is actually pretty decent. I might as well set up a pool in this. I don't mind it. It's actually a very good idea. From what I've seen. I don't know for a fact. I think I'm going to hit 82% pool on this one and then just go 5 soul bid ask. We're just going to keep it simple and do something like that. Are you going to monitor the chart regularly when you open positions? Yes, but I'm not going to be keeping like a constant eye on it. Usually these positions I open so wide that I really don't have to worry too much about being in it or not. Becca, I'm actually going to go ahead and shut down the LP Army stream. Meteor, LP Army, thank you so much for having me once again. I appreciate you guys hosting me. I'm going to continue the stream on TikTok for just a little bit longer, just to get to some of the chat questions I missed earlier. But thank you again. Feel free to go ahead and give LP Army TV a subscribe, a like on the stream, and if you want to learn more about their community, Met_LP Army on Twitter. Biggest community of LPers on the Solana blockchain. You're going to learn a lot if you just look through their resources, look through my page, join the Discord. But yes, thank you guys again for having me.